to class. Some of you are here in person with me in the Matchbox, the beautiful building we have here on Swarthmore campus, and others hopefully will be watching this on YouTube. I'm going to be demoing, which is not normally how I run my classes here at Swarthmore, but we wanted to give everyone some options for being able to hit the recording and practice on their own at home or wherever else they are on vacation even. And I will be working out with you and describing what we're doing together and giving you different options for different levels of expertise in Pilates. I've got some newbies here today, so if you're joining us on camera and you're a newbie too, this is also great. If you're more experienced, also be layering in some more modifications for you. So we'll see how this goes, and feedback as always is welcome. But we're going to start actually just taking a nice little stretch here. So you can lay down your back. Oh, and for everyone at home, what we're using a pretty thick mat. If you have just a yoga mat on a hardwood floor, you might want to put a towel or an extra yoga mat under it. Pilates typically is done on a thicker mat so that rolling, it feels comfortable to your back. And we have a TheraBand. If you don't have a band at home, you can use a belt, a dog leash, almost anything else you can think of. A yoga strap would also be great, and a ball. And if you're tight in the hips, you would want a book or a yoga block to sit on perhaps. So those are some of the props that we're using for our Pilates session. So let's just begin by doing a nice little stretch. So you can start with your knees bent, hands to the back of your thighs, lift the tail so you're rolling back behind your sits bones onto your sacrum, which is the big triangular bone here at the base of your spine, and then place yourself down, all the way down using your abs to bring you to the floor. That's good. And then lengthen the arms long at your side. Stretch the fingers towards your feet and then rotate the palms up. We're taking the arms out to the side in the T position, reaching the back of the hands into the floor. Now you can pull your feet in a little closer to you, maybe the heels about 8 to 10 inches from your sits bones. And legs together. We'll pull the knees over to the right as you turn your head to the left, lifting the left hip and looking out over the left fingertips. Reach the arms long. You should feel a pull in your chest, stretch across the pecs. And then exhale, come back to center, nose to the ceiling, knees to the ceiling, and then inhale, knees go to the left as you turn your head and look right. The right hip is lifting and you stretch the arms away from center. Exhale, back to center here. I want to open our chest first and also give you a little bit of rotation in the spine. Inhale, let the knees fall to your right, look to your left. You're actually rotating both ends of the spine, getting a nice stretch here across the hip into the low back, as well as across the chest, and then exhale back to center. Really enjoy that massage as your sacrum rolls across the mat. And one more time, knees going left, turn your head to look right. And exhale, pull back to center here. Good. And now slide your left leg forward. We're pulling the right knee into your chest. Embrace it in. You can hold onto the shin and pull the leg tight. If you have any issues with the knee, you would hold onto the thigh, and then the knee could be a little more open, and that's usually easier for the joint there. But first, just pull it in nice and tight here and stretch the other leg straight out of the hip joint. Now with both hands to your right knee, we're circling the knee here to stir the leg on the socket. This will help release some of the hip tension that we get from sitting. Even though it's summer, it's probably still one of the primary ways we spend a lot of our hours. And then reverse, circling the leg in the other direction. And now pull that knee into your chest again, embrace it in, shoulders relax, so pull the elbows forward and down. And then you take your right hand to the knee or the shin, left hand on the left hip bone crest, and pull the right knee out to the side towards your armpit. So it's the thigh is sort of up to the side of the rib cage on the right. And you're feeling a little bit of a stretch here in the upper inner thigh. As you exhale, lift that knee back up to center, switch hands. Now the left hand holds the knee, the right arm extends out and to your side, and pull the knee up on a diagonal towards the left armpit, trying to keep the right hip still down. So keep the hip down here for a second, right? So you get more of the stretch in the IT band area and the outer thigh and hip. And then we can pull the knee lower so the thigh is more perpendicular to the torso. And now pull the knee way over to the floor. You're looking to the right, keeping your right shoulder blade down and pulling that left knee as close to the ground as you can to get a good stretch in your back. Of course, if anything doesn't feel right, ease back out of it. Let me know, anyone that's here, if you have any issues or questions, comments, compliments you can save till the end of the class, and then come back to center. And then let's pull that knee into your chest one more time. It's going straight into the right chest. And now release that leg forward, slide the foot along the mat, stretch the leg out next to the other one. And just stay here to do the comparison. You may notice that the right leg feels longer. It's definitely dropped a little bit into the floor so that more of not only your leg, but also your back is connected to the ground. And the left side feels like it's a little puffed up off the floor, like it's suspended. So we know it's time to pull the left leg in. Oh, the other thing is that when you release that right hip, you probably feel that the right leg wants to rotate externally, which means the knee and the toes are pointed out to the side. Anyway, let's pull the left leg in, do the same thing here. So hug the knee in. Again, remember, if it bothers your knee, try holding the back of the hamstring, the thigh, and not the shin. Pull the leg on into your chest. And then you can release it a little forward. We start circling the knee here. Knee stirs is what we call it. It's one of the introductory Pilates exercises. Warms up the body for what's to come. And then we'll reverse the circles. Very good. Now pull that knee into your chest again. And now bring the knee, the left hand pulls the knee, pull the knee to the left armpit. The right leg stretches forward and you keep the right side of your body grounded like it's sinking into quicksand, like it's falling into a ditch here. You may feel that pull in the upper inner thigh, across the front of the pelvis as well. And now we'll pull the knee up to the ceiling. Right hand comes to the left knee. Extend the left arm out on the floor in a T position, perpendicular to your body. And first, keep the left hip down and pull the knee up on a high diagonal towards the right armpit. And then we'll pull the knee across the body, lifting the hip, the leg perpendicular to the torso now. So looking out over your left arm. Stretch the fingers as far across the floor as you can and keep the left shoulder blade grounded. Exhale to pull back to center. We pull the knee back in towards the left chest. Embrace it in. The heel can be as low to the glute as possible. And then we'll extend that leg forward, slide it forward down the mat. Look straight up at the sky again and just see, so you should feel like you've balanced out your legs, the length, the weight, the energy, and the external rotation should be the same. So that's good, good job on this. So here, pull your right knee into your chest, lunge the back of the thigh, pull the left knee in and lift that foot up to the ceiling. So to come up to sitting, we're going to push the legs forward, lift your head, look at your midline, and push the leg forward to roll up to sitting position. Very good. All right. Now we are going to roll back into what's called an upper up curl. So hands behind the thighs, look straight ahead and then look down towards your navel. Curl the tail up, rotating the pelvis around the femurs. Those are your upper thighs, right? And you roll the spine down. Your hands can slide down towards your sits bones. As you come down, we're going to stop when you get to the tip of the shoulder blade. So you're just on the base of the ribs. Good. Now pull the right leg into your chest. Elbow is wide and it pulls you up. Pull the left leg in. Use your arms up into this deep curve and squeeze the legs together for that connection. We extend the arms forward to start pumping the arms. Inhaling for 5 beats. Exhale for 5 more. Doing good. Now don't look up because then you're going to feel it in your neck. If you do start to feel it in your neck, which is normal if you haven't done this either in a while or ever, take one hand behind your head to support it, and you can pump with one arm, and then you can switch your hands and pump with the other. This goes on for a while, so you might want to take advantage of that technique. And then if you don't want to, you come up and you just look at your belly. You can also start to extend the legs up to the ceiling, and then even lower the legs out towards the floor as you advance your practice. but go where it feels okay. The issue here is that both legs weigh about 1/3 of your body weight and they're suspended from your back. So you don't want to take the legs too low and have your back arch or feel at risk. So always hold the knees in if you feel like you need to press your waist into the ground. All right, and then we can pull the legs in, lay yourself down, lower the toes, bend the heels to the mat, open the arms and rock your knees side to side. Just turn your head in the other direction, feel a little release in the neck. So in hundreds, we call it that because you're supposed to pump your arms 100 times. We'll take you 10 deep breaths in and out. You're always going to feel this in the front of your body, from your abdominal wall up into the front of the throat. But we want to get to the place where it feels like it's a good stretch in the back of the neck and just some work in the front of the throat here. And not that you're feeling almost like you're choking yourself when you're trying to breathe and stay in position to pump. So we can always look at that and do some other modifications too. Anyway, so here, let's roll up again. So take your left leg up in the air, the right knee pulls in, and then roll forward for a roll back. So if you want to use your TheraBands here. Starting with the band today, because I suspect that many of us haven't done this in the month that we've had off since the last class. And we can take this to a more advanced variation after 1 or 2 reps. So heels are grounded, toes are up, the band is around the ball, the foot in the arch, and you sit up tall with the elbows pulled in by your waist. Look down and you curl the tail up, and rotate the pelvis around the back of the legs, and then you place your spine down 1 inch at a time, one vertebra after the other. Go all the way down, lay the head back, and then you lift up. You lift your head and then your shoulders. Exhale, pick up the rib cage. You can pull back with the elbows and then dive over your knees. Get a little stretch here in your back. And then stack your spine from the bottom to the top like you're zipping it up an invisible wall. Good, let's do that one more time. So tuck and go back. Curve your way back, you're rounding your spine. You're placing it down, almost like your spine is a zipper and it's zipping into the floor. Come all the way down here. Feel how the strap can pull your arms forward to keep the shoulders away from your ears. Lift your head, shoulders, exhale, pick up your ribs, dive over, curve over here. And again, we flow the spine up, bottom to top. We get the tail sinking into the center of the earth and you perch up right on your sits bones. Now, if you want, we can do the straight legs. This would be considered a roll up. And you just reach out through your heels, push them away from you. Again, get that pelvic tuck and imprint your spine into the mat, 1 inch, 1 vertebra at a time. That's good. Your head lays back, and then we're coming up, lifting your head, neck, and chest. Pull back into the band to pull yourself up. Elbows can go wide, and then you lift your belly into your spine as you round over low. Feel like you're pouncing over your own legs, and then float upwards, stack bottom to top. If you're normally doing this without, the band can go to the side, and then the arms could be extended forward. The lower the arms, the easier, the higher the arms, the more difficult. So you can even start doing this with your fingers sliding along the mat, bring the arms up, or advance the arms high. Or you can stay where you are, like if your first minute doing Pilates, you may want to keep using the band. And then we're lifting the arms, lift the head, neck, and chest. If you're using the band, you pull the elbows back, and you lift up, exhale, to get the weight of the ribcage off the ground, and then take a deep dive forward, hang your head low, shoulders relaxing down your back. And we articulate the spine up again. And let's do that again, so rolling back. You need to find the arm position that allows you to have control of your body all the way to the floor. If you find that you're like collapsing partway through, the arms are too high and you need to take a step back to use the TheraBand. Lift to pull up, exhale and dive. Also, just so you know, it's much harder for guys to do this and keep their heels rounded. So they may need to have the lower arms initially, or they might even need like weights, ankle weights, to help hold the feet in position. There you go, good. And then let's stretch the arms around the other side. And we're going to use the band for our single leg circles next. Everyone good? Yeah, we're doing great. So let's take the band around the right foot, so the ball of the foot in the arch. And then you can roll back.
The left leg is extended straight in front of the hip socket, that foot is flexed. The right foot goes up in the air. And you want to slide your hands down towards the end of your strap and anchor your elbows at your side, slide the elbows forward so that your shoulders ease away from your neck. Neck is long. And then just pull the leg back as far as you can to get a healthy stretch in the hamstring. So if your hamstrings are tight, bend the knee and try to have the foot more directly up to the ceiling. Because if the foot is extended with tight hamstrings down low, it might be too much load on your back. So we lift the leg, bend the knee if necessary, straighten if possible. And now reach up to the ball of the foot. It's a soft plank, looks like Barbie doll's foot. And we anchor the elbows. We take the leg across the body. We draw a circle in the air. Inhale, the leg goes over to the left. Low, exhale, out around to the side and up to the sky. Goal here is to get as big of a movement in the leg, draw a circle in the air, but and only if you can keep the pelvis grounded. So you're not lifting your hips. You're going to end up working your oblique abdominals to pull the pelvis grounded here, like it's glued to the mat on the right side and the left side of your hips. The band gives you support for the leg, but it also gives you something to push out into. So you feel that resistance, but use the support to support the weight of your leg. One more, short inhale and a long exhale. So you pull the belly deep on the exhalation to come all the way up to the top, and now we reverse. Rotate the leg externally, take it out to the right, hold the left side grounded. The arms can swing around following the angle of the band and the leg, but you want to keep your elbows on the mat here and the upper arms actively pushing into the floor at your side. You should be looking straight ahead. I'm probably looking at the people here in the class or at the screen to see how I'm doing, but you stretch out again, really reach as far as you can. Feel that nice stretch with the leg, inner thigh, outer thigh, and hamstring at the top. One more. We use a short inhale and a long exhale. You really want to feel that you're running out of breath at the end of the exhale at the top of the movement. Now we take a little stretch here. So you'll take both ends of the band in your right hand and extend the leg out to the right, left hand on your hip bone crest on the left to be sure the pelvis stays level. And then you can rock the leg just a little bit. Hopefully feeling really good here. Exhale to pick the leg up to the ceiling. Lift it, switch hands on the band. Take the leg over, lifting the hip, and extend the right arm out. So this is the longer lever version of what we did earlier in the class. So we have the bent knee across the body. Now, if you rotate the leg internally, knee and toes point to the floor, you should feel more of a stretch into the glute, into the low back. Exhale, pull the hip down, come from the left shoulder to the waist to the right hip, to lift the leg up to the ceiling. Pull back with the leg a little bit more so you can get a little bit more stretch in the back of the leg without overwhelming the back of your knee. And then from here, fold the knee in, we take the strap off and extend the right leg down. And again, the comparison. We always want to really feel what's going on in our body and acknowledge the change that occurred with the movement. And now let's pull the left leg in, fold it in, bend the foot. Then it goes around the ball of the foot and the arch, and you lift the leg up high. And you anchor the elbows down, you pull them forward, slide them away from your ears. Your neck is long here. Ideally, you're looking up at the ceiling. So we just get that nice stretch first, and then point the foot. Remember, bend the knee if you need to. And we begin the circle across the body. Reach, put the left hip down, exhale, go low. Exhale, rotate the leg as it moves out to the left and pull it up to the ceiling at the end of your breath. So one circle per breath. The breath acts like the metronome. It sets the timing of your movement. We're thinking of a very short inhale and a very long exhale. Sometimes we say inhale for the first third of the circle, sometimes the first quarter of the circle. If you're not feeling the deep abdominal contraction at the top of the movement, keep shortening the inhale and lengthening the exhale until you really feel that. It may mean that you also need to slow down the movement. So reach, really stretch the foot away from the body, keep the pelvis grounded. That way your core is working to hold the body steady here on your mat. You're gonna come to the top and then do one more circle like this. Body's breathing, typically it's inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. And now let's reverse. The main thing is to breathe. And then circle around, gradually across up to high and reach again. Nice steady pace here. I'm sure your legs are grateful that they're getting this chance to reach out into space and circle around. This again is helping to open up your hip and give you a sense of release. When the hips are more free and open, the low back will feel so much more at ease and relaxed as well. So we come to the top and we're taking both ends of the band into the left hand. If you also need to hold the right hand on the band, you could. That would give you more support if you need it. And then you can open the left leg out to the side, externally rotating the leg and holding the right leg down, the right hip down. Don't let your right hip peel off the mat. And we're gonna rock the leg just a little bit towards the shoulder and away. The movement of the leg is really pretty much parallel to the ground. Good, nice deep breathing going on here in the class. And then exhale to lift the foot up to the ceiling. We switch hands at the top. So now the right hand pulls the band around the left foot. You extend the left arm and you come off, twisting the waist, lifting the left hip, but not the right. And you pull that left leg as close to your shoulder as possible. Rotating the leg a little bit internally here to increase the diagonal stretch into the low back. Exhale to pull the hip down and lift the foot up to the sky. Good. Bend knee if you need it to release tension in the sits bone, the hamstring attachment, or the knee. Otherwise, lighten it up. And then fold the knee in. The band comes off, and you can place that to the side. Fold the knee into your chest because after stretching, a little compression feels good. And then you can extend that leg forward. You got the legs a bit. And just feel that ease in your back as well as in your legs. You'll do great. So here, pull your left knee into your body, embrace it in, and then hold that right leg in, lift it up, and we roll forward and up. Rolling like a ball comes next. So if you're here in the class, you have a ball. If you're at home, you could even use like a little pillow or a ball if you have it. These are just children's toys, right? Or you don't have to use anything at all. But it does help to take the ball between the thighs, so over the knees, below the pelvis. And you're going to sit at the front third of your mat. Take your hands to your shins. If it's your very first time doing it, you might want to take your hands to your thighs. It's a little easier. And in whichever arm position you choose, you're going to pick up the feet and roll back onto your sacrum. Curl the tail up and pull the legs back. And we're doing what we call that upright curl. You hug the ball in, elbows wide and forward. But take a moment here. Push your shins into your hands and pull your hands back and feel yourself firm up your arms and firm up your abs. Now you lift the tail over your shoulders only. Tail in the air and then exhale, come right back up to your balance point. And do it again. You want to pretend you're 6 years old. Absolutely. So you roll back and lift that forward. Now, if you have trouble coming back up, here's what you do. Right? So the elbows are wide and holding up to the sides. I roll back. As I come up, you kick the legs forward and that brings me up. Which is help hold me in position. Because it takes a little bit of time to figure out like where your center of balance is. And we want to be as round as possible. So when you're here, really inflate your back with your inhale, then roll. Exhale as soon as you touch the shoulder blades to the mat, and that exhale will pull you back up. Do one more. Really feel that connection, hand to leg, leg to hand. Roll back and inhale, exhale up to your balance. Good work. And then we can lower the feet, put the ball to the side. We're rolling back into the first of, I think today, 2 of the ab series. So your hand position will be this. You take your right hand to your right ankle, right above the ankle onto the shin. Your left hand is going on the right shin as well, below the knee. And then you pull that leg up into your chest. Now, you want to slowly go back, reaching the left leg out away from you to roll back to your upper curl. You're looking right down at your abs. You pull that knee in tight. Now inhale to switch the leg. As you pull the left leg in, push the right leg out. And it's always the outside hand to the ankle. And and switch. Right hand to right ankle, and then switch left hand to left ankle. Now here's just a little sheet. You guys can continue or rest. So if you want to have a better upper up curl and not feel so much in your neck, you can take the ball and place it, well, for a woman to be at the bra line, just about, right? And then you can sink your belly down, and that will hold you up in the upper up curl as you do the exercise. So a lot of us learn it this way because it's less tension in the neck. And I don't want you to hate Pilates, I want you to love it. Yeah? And then look at your belly, don't look up at the ceiling, because if you look up, then your neck is going to not feel good. So we're going to end with the left leg in. I know you all have been doing this for quite some time while I was chatting. And then pull both knees in, and you can lower the legs down. If you're on the floor and not using the ball, you would lay down. If you're using the ball, you can also lay down. But then we're going to need it for the next exercise if this is still like a new thing for you. All right, so the second exercise is called double leg stretch. That was single leg stretch. So let's practice it with the head down first. So you pull both knees into your chest, one hand to each shin, and pull the knees in tight, elbows wide. So as you inhale, the arms of the legs go up to the ceiling, the arms are apart, the legs are together. And then as you exhale, you pull the knees in, as you circle the arms wide and around to embrace the legs into your body. So you reach, circle, the legs stay glued together. Right. Now, as you advance that exercise, and this is fine to do it like that. As you advance it, you start to take the arms further back and the legs further away. So you build more work in your core, and then you circle and pull it all in. Now, another way to advance it is to come to your upper curl. And again, you could put the ball behind your shoulders, behind the ribs. Toughy, so let's come up and choose your position. Upper curl, ball can be behind you or not. I would use it. Look at your first class. Right. And then inhale, stretch the arms and legs up. And then circle the arms, pull the legs in. And when you hold onto your shins, push the shins up and push the hands down, so you really feel connected in your arms and your abs. And then you stretch out long, you circle wide, like you're swimming through the air. Let's do one more. So lengthen it out and embrace it in. Okay, and then rest your head down, turn it side to side. So those are the first two in the abs series. There's actually 5 in that series. And of course, we use the abs in almost every single Pilates exercise. They're part of the body after all, right? But Pilates is known for being core-centric, and we go with that. So come up to, rock up now to sitting. You have your hands behind your side, go forward and up. This next exercise is called spine stretch. That's the goal. So if you're tight in the back line of your body, either your back or your hamstrings, you would take your yoga block or a book that you might have at home, and you can come up to sit on it. And sometimes even if you're not that tight, it's sort of nice to do that just because you get more mobility in your back. So elevate it here, the legs reach out, and you're open a little wider than your hips, maybe the width of your mat. And then we extend the arms forward parallel to the ground. So as you push the arms slightly down, imagine you're standing in a pool of water and bring your hands to the edge of the pool, push down onto the concrete, and then lift your heart and your head up. And then we look down your nose, tip your chin to your chest, and you're going to reach from the back of your head. Like someone's pulling from the back of your skull out, over, and down. Your head draws an arc in the air, coming out and down between the knees and down between the calves. The spine just follows and flows. Now, hamstrings are tight. Bend your knees and go a little bit lower. And then you start to stack the spine. The tail sinks, and you curve your back up, lift it against an imaginary wall, and the arms come up to end up parallel to the ground. So we grow taller and exhale all the way over. Really try to move your spine from the top to the bottom. And then on the way up, you're going to move your spine from the bottom to the top. So the tail drops down into the middle of the earth, and then you lift your body up on top of it. It's like you have a big taproot right there, and you go up on top. And then look down again, exhale all the way forward and down. Curve your way down here. You lift your belly up into your spine. So it's not just hip flexion, we're trying to round the back and stretch it out with the contraction of the abdominals And then we press through the legs and we lift all the way up again. Good work. Now, if you're sitting on a block, we're coming on off of it. And then coming forward to the front of the mat for another balance exercise. This is called open leg balance. So easiest to take your hands to the back of the thighs, round your back, work back on your sacrum, balance here, and the heels are together, the toes are apart, and the knees are apart, the width of your chest. Inhale and extend the right leg up to the ceiling. Exhale, fold the knee and connect the heels together to feel a little bit of connection to your inner thighs. And now the left leg goes up, it stretches, and then we pull it back down. And then again, a little more difficult, hands to the inside of the legs to your ankle, and then the right leg goes up. And then you pull it back down, the arm pulls inside the leg, and now the left extends. You might rotate the arm a little bit to the outer leg, and then you rotate it into the inner leg as you fold. Do it again, right leg up. Try to hold the body steady. Good. This you'll notice again is a nice way to get more stretch in the hamstring as well as challenge your balance. Doing good. And now both legs simultaneously, they both go up. And again, hands could be at your ankles or at your thighs. And then you pull everything back down. And then we do one more of those, take the legs up. Now hold wherever you're holding, and we get ready to roll. So be sure there's enough room behind you, and there's nothing on there, no choice. Look at your abs, lift your tail, roll your shoulders. Exhale, come up. Remember, we never want to slam the head into the floor. That's not good practice. For many reasons, right? Lift the tail, coming up. Exhale to come forward. Good job, very good. And then one more. Trying to keep the arms and the legs as straight as possible. You go up, and then we bend the knees, lower the feet. Good work. So from here, we get to lay down again. One of the great things about Pilates is so much of it is done on the mat, on the floor. And the reason is Pilates was trying to take us out of our normal alignment and postural imbalances that we have when we stand. So when you are on the ground, you can kind of organize your body and recognize where one part of the body is in relationship to another because you have the guideline of the floor. So we're going to get down again. Reach your hair down and corkscrew. So you fold both legs in, take the bed around the ball of the foot and the arches. Fold the feet actually, and then lift both legs up to the ceiling. And again, you may want to bend your knees a little bit for tight hamstrings. You don't want the legs way forward because that would be too much load into the back. But you do want to reach up with the feet as much as you can and anchor down through your hips and your arms. Now, we draw small circles on the ceiling with the feet. So you go over to the right, exhale around, and we're keeping the hips rounded. You're going to feel just a little bit of a shift in the weight around the sacrum here. The sacrum, remember, is like that big triangular bone near the base of the spine. It's the keystone of the pelvic girdle. The only time I've ever heard that word besides, Pennsylvania. And then come around to lift up. And so we reverse the circles each time. Now, as you start to have more experience in Pilates, what you can do is you can really take the leg over and lift the hip. And then you're going to circle by moving your pelvis, not by moving the legs. So you would roll to the opposite hip and then curl the tail up to bring the legs up and then going the other direction. So you would pick the right hip up to take the legs to the left and then sort of arch the back slightly to lower the legs, coming around, lifting the left hip to bring the legs to the right, and then almost tucking to bring it back up to the top. So you can eventually work from your pelvis and your abdominal wall and your spine to move the legs. We don't really want to think about just circling the legs by moving the feet and then have that move the lower part of our torso. That would have a totally different feeling. We're trying to get that work into the center, into our core. But initially, you begin by just circling the legs and holding the pelvis as steady as you can, and you will feel the abdominal wall engagement with that. We're going to end going from right to left. and then coming up to the top, and then fold your knees in, the band to the side. And come up to sitting now for soft. If you were sitting on the yoga block earlier, you probably want to sit on it again for this. Extend the arms. The arms are going out to the side in a T, just a little bit in front of your collarbone. The legs are out wider than they were in the spine stretch. Reach up through the head and the heart, look straight ahead. Now we rotate to the right. The back of the left hand goes along the outside of the right ankle, and the right arm circles back and forth. Not circle, just reach it back. And you press your arm into your leg to do more rotation. Both hips are grounded, both sits bones are pressed into the floor. Wrists are straight. And then we lift to come up, hold and twist. Unwind, come back to center. And now the right arm crosses over the left leg. Reach out long so the palm is up behind you. And you try to pull your left shoulder blade across to the right one. Good, look up and back, try to look for your fingertips behind you. And now lift to come up, center, and face forward. And now twist and drop. It goes out as you go over your spiral in the torso. Imagine that your left ear is trying to listen to the right knee. The left sits bone is dropping into the ground underneath you or burrowing into the floor. And pull the arms away from each other, which you blaze out of your fingertips in opposite directions. You're coming up, lifting the body to vertical and then line. And we go over again. Start at the head and move through the spine as you dive in this twist. These look lovely. And again, remember, if you go over, you can always bend the knees to accommodate tightness in the back line of your body. Let's do one more. Spiral dive and reach. The neck is also rotating as you turn to the back. Imagine you can see your fingertips if you can't. Look forward. And then pull yourself up, center here, and then one more time. Our bodies are dying for rotation. It's not something that we typically do on a regular basis. But we should. I mean, witness the cars now that will look behind you so you don't have to turn around in your seat. It's a sad commentary on what we've done to our bodies. But it's a good safety feature, I think, too. Okay, so from saw, I'm going to have you come up to standing to practice a little upper back extension. Okay, so in swan, what we want to avoid is just pushing the hips forward and crunching the low back and then throwing it back. Because we've got the natural backward curves in our spine at the base of in the center of our neck and at our low back, right? So for Pilates, when we're bending backwards, what we're trying to do is bend the part that wants to bend forward backwards and not focus the work on what already is bent backwards, because that's when you feel compressed and it starts to feel really uncomfortable to the point of pain, right? So the way we're starting is you'll take your hands to your low abs. And you're going to press it, so your hands below the navel above the pubic bone. Press into the flesh. And then we'll start to lift the belly up, let your hands up and pull the rib cage up. So the hands here at the base of the ribs, palms are up, and you feel the edge of your pinky and the edge of the palm into the base of the ribs. And then you pick the ribs up one by one. You pick up your chest. Then you slide your hands up to your sternum, the breastbone. Slide your hands up the sternum, out along the collarbones. Elbows are wide now. Pull the elbows down and back. And look up. Look behind you. And then exhale, release out. So you can see that most of the backward bending happens in the thoracic spine, which is the part where the ribs are. And what you're definitely not doing is you're definitely not pushing the hips forward to go backwards. Because if you try that, right, if you shift your weight from evenly on the balls of your feet and your heels to like your knees come forward over your toes, that looks like you're doing what we just did, but it actually just is compressing you in the low back. And we don't want to feel that. We're looking for that extension to the upper back and the opening of the chest by expanding the front of the rib cage and compressing and contracting the back of it. So let's do that again. Did it feel good for everyone here? Then that's perfect. Let's do it again. So hands to the low belly. And you push in, and then you slide the flesh up. So you really have to kind of move. You're probably moving the organs too, and that's good for them. So then Turn the pinky in, slide your hands up the ribs one by one, pick up the chest. Hands to the sternum, slide up the breastbone to the collarbones, fingers out on the collarbones, and pull the elbows back down in. That will make you feel that the shoulder blades are pulling together. What that does is it splays the front ribs open and the back ribs knit together and drop. And then your eyes are up. If it's too much for your neck, lower the gaze. And then exhale out of it, so you zip yourself up from the belly to the top. Now just stay here and breathe and see how good that feels in your body. Also, everyone in the room here, our posture looks fabulous, right? Because we've just opened the chest and elongated the front of the body. It's the opposite of all the collapse that we typically have, in our normal life. Whether you're driving or sitting at a desk or slouched over your computer when you're sitting at home. Right? So that's a swan. Pilates called these extension swans. And we're going to do it now on the floor, which is not nearly as easy because now gravity is not going to be so much in our favor. So I wanted you to feel that because what's important in the swan is really that lengthening of the front line of the body and then the lift of the upper body only. So a lot of times what I see in like yoga classes or Pilates classes is when people try to do that backward extension, they just push in their arms and they come up like so, right? And then they're crunching into the low back. So to avoid that sensation, you want to go forward first. Your hands start sorted by the armpit. Elbows are lifted up behind you like little swan wings. And you're looking down, faces off the ground because you don't want to smother yourself into the mat, right? And then we pull the hand back, and you're trying to push the mat behind you. Pull the elbows in, pull the chest forward. Bring the gaze up and just try to bend that upper back. And then exhale. Oh, I heard that, I felt that, and then come on down. It should feel good, right? But if you go too far, it won't. So really pull the chest forward, pull the heart forward, let the heart lift and rise like the sun in the morning. You pull your shoulders down your back and squeeze your elbows back and in. And then down you go. And that's a good modification to go onto your fist if you have an issue with your wrist. So good job. And let's do that one more time. See if you can really feel the whole of the abdominal wall, so that's going to stretch. Stretching the skin, we're stretching the muscles, and then release yourself down. Come all the way down and sit back in the child's pose. Any comments or questions from the people who are here? Obviously, we get a lot more freedom of movement from the standing position. And I'd like to start with that. And for my own body, it's helpful too, because you want to remember, like some people, their body naturally wants to go backwards. Other people, their body naturally wants to go forward. And some of it's training and some of it is just how we're built. But if you have been doing backward bends the wrong way and feeling like it's too compressive in your body, that's a real problem because once you get to the mat, you can really hurt yourself. And certainly then it's not as much fun, right? So I wanted to go over that from the very beginning today. All right, we just have a couple more minutes before the Chester Children's Chorus comes in with the drummers. So we're going to go now to shoulder bridge. So we're here, we'll lay on your back. And if you have a ball, let's use it between your thighs. So you probably noticed we do a lot of rolling through the spine, like working one vertebra at a time from one end of the spine to the other and back again. And that's because Joseph Pilates really believed that we were as young as our spines were strong and flexible. So there's a lot of attention in Pilates to moving the spine and really articulating every single joint, every single vertebra, one by one. And this exercise we're doing next, shoulder bridge, is great for that too. So your feet are grounded, knees are bent, your heels may be 8 to 10 inches from your sits bones, arms lengthened at your side. And we begin with the pelvic tuck. So in the pelvic tuck, your waist goes down and the tail curves up. You shift your weight a little higher on your sacrum. And then you are dragging the mat under you with your heels as you pull the tail and the knees forward and up. Drive the knees forward, out over the shins, over the toes. And you lift your spine until you're up on your shoulder blades. And then you could even here go a little higher, roll to the outer arm and push the top of the shoulders into the ground And that lifts the sternum up, it lifts the heart up, and then push the floor down with your arms and your leg, and come up, use your glutes to open your hips to the ceiling. So this we're in extension through the thoracic spine. And now to come out of it, to roll down, you need to roll to the inner arm. Let the top of your shoulders curve slightly off the ground, and then you feel the blades move sideways. Your spine sinks down between the shoulder blades. You roll down one by one through the vertebra, roll down through your rib cage, to your waist, to the small of your back, to the sacrum. And when the tail drops, you'll feel the waist come off the ground. And we do that again. Your gaze is up while we lift the hips. Begin with a pelvic tuck. Round the back, press it into the floor, curl the tail up, push the ball and the knees forward. Your spine goes up a little bit at a time from the bottom to the top, and then you're at the shoulders. Push the top of the shoulders down, expand the heart, lift the chest, then lift the butt up a little higher by using your glutes and opening your hips to the sky. Roll to the inner arm. The blades move sideways and apart, and curve your back into the space between them. Imprint your spine down, like your back is a piece of tape and you're pressing it from one end to the other to seal a package. Go all the way down. This is a little different from that tape because now when the tail settles, the natural arch of your back, your waist lifts off the ground. We do one more and we'll stay there to squeeze the ball. You can always adjust the feet in a little closer if you feel like you need more support. Tucking you up. The knees slide forward. You lift the hips here. You stand into the shoulders. You have a nice firm support for your arms and your feet. And then you should be able to really lift. Now stay there and inhale, squeeze the ball and exhale, slightly release it. Squeeze again, exhale it open. Two more, press. Then picture the ball expanding to push the legs away. So you still have that inward feeling of working the thighs towards each other. We'll do one more for good measure. Press, slight release. And now inner arms, widen the back, curve your body down. Try to drape your spine inch by inch, one vertebra after the next into the ground. We go all the way down until the tail is at rest. Then you can take the ball out, pull both knees into your chest, rock a little side to side. And that is our first session for summer Pilates at Swans. Good job. Thank you guys so much for coming today.
Yay, good for you too. Excellent. So same time next week, 12 to 12:45. Good to see all of you here.